TJ Rule, Golf Away Tours. Hello, TJ. How are you?
Hello, Scully. Good to be here.
It is always good to sit down and talk with you, and we're going to get into golf travel and some of the latest hot destinations. And something I'm really looking forward to doing is we're going to go through our top 5 golf courses all around the world. That's coming up in our next segment. TJ's going to be here for the next 25 to 30 minutes or so as we talk all things golf, all things travel. But you've been cruising around here at TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley. What have you felt so far?
Yeah, you know what? First time I've been here in a long time. I played the course well before the renovations and didn't come out yesterday, so here for the first time in a while. And I'm really impressed. I love the look of the golf course. I know Ian did a lot of work, with the changes and lengthening it out for a PGA Tour tournament, and I'm really impressed. It shows well, and I think the guys are enjoying it.
So far, so good. I totally agree. It's too bad we got that rain yesterday to soften things up. I didn't think a 61 was going to be out there because I know this is going to surprise you a couple things. Mark and I played the Celebrity Pro-Am on Monday. Mark's like, I think we should tip it. I'm like, do we need? Yeah, okay, sure.
Sounds
fine.
like a Mark thing.
And not only did we tip it, it was one step off the back.
Oh, geez.
So it was just under 7,600 yards probably. My low back is still in agony.
From carrying Mark?
Well, no, well, yeah. And then my fiance Taylor was caddying for me, and Heather was caddying for Mark. So
they loved the day.
They loved it. They loved the 6 hours out here. They love cruising around. But no, it was fun. It's a great golf course, and I love some of the runoff areas too. But it's a cool place to.
But 7,600, that's kind of in your range for how far you hit it, right?
Yeah,
right.
You know what? I was 76, so I played okay. I was driving it nicely.
Wow.
Driving it nicely. Mark's back sort of went out on him with the last couple holes. At least he says his back went out.
It's always his excuse, I know.
For our radio audience, I just did some air quotes there. Yes. But you have a buddy who's playing out here right now, right?
Well, buddy, a fellow member at Scarborough Golf and Country Club who's, roasted me in the club championship on many occasion. And
so he's your enemy, actually.
Yeah, great guy, though. He's only 18 years old. He's going to school down in Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
And just finished his first year, Matthew Javier. And, he's qualified in the final qualifier at, where was it, at Pulpit, I think, on Monday. And
Yep.
Or Sunday, and he's out here playing and representing Scarborough well, and we're super proud of him. And he's, first and foremost, he's a great kid, and so it's really great to see him succeed out here.
And he is currently 2 over for the tournament. He just unfortunately made a triple bogey a couple holes ago.
Yeah, we're not supposed to talk about that. We're supposed to talk about the 2 birdies he made before that.
Good vibes only. I mean, he is your enemy, though, right?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
I love that. Well, for those who have followed us on Golf Talk Canada for years, we've done a number of travel specials with Golf Away Tours. We were in Spain coming up on 4 years ago now, which is just mind-boggling to believe. We were in Portugal last year, which is great too. It was so much fun. And there's a lot going on in the world right now, specifically Canada, the U.S., which we're not going to get into the politics side of this. But in terms of the golf travel side of it, are you seeing more people maybe wanting to go elsewhere, maybe other parts of Europe now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the majority of our business is Europe, as you well know, like UK, Ireland, and then Spain and Portugal and other places over there. But U.S. doesn't represent a ton of our business, although we do work with some of the bigger resorts down there. But we're getting a lot of people just calling us up and saying we don't want to go to the U.S. anymore, which I get.
Totally.
And, we've got a group of 20 guys that have been down to Myrtle Beach for 23 straight years or whatever, and we need an alternative. So yeah, we're getting a lot of those calls recently, and people just looking for alternatives because they just don't want to go down there right now. And I get it. It's a shame, really, because obviously there's so much great stuff down there, and hopefully this blows over sooner than later. But in the meantime, yeah, we're looking at alternatives for people. So
yeah, and one of those great alternatives is Portugal, and we're in Portugal last March. I think Ron Judge from Golf Away Tours has been 14 times since then. It seems.
I think he's getting his passport soon.
Does he live there now full time? But for those who we enjoyed such a cool experience. But for those who haven't been to Portugal to golf, what's the experience like?
Well, it's great, right? And we got to experience it last year, and I was glad you were able to join us over there. And it's a destination that's always been very popular, especially for Brits going down. It's kind of like their version of Florida or California, where they can fly down easily. they can get to a fairly reasonably priced destination for golf, good weather, right through the winter. Not hot in the winter, but still like good golfing weather. And so especially down the Algarve in the south, it's been very popular for years and years. But now, as we found out last year, and as we're finding out sending our clients there a lot, there's a lot of new golf courses in and around Lisbon that are popping up that are world class, like world class. And Ron was just over there again last week, of course, and exploring some of them and seeing some of the courses that one of them hasn't quite opened up yet. And we played its sister course last year when we went, Dunas, Comporta Dunas.
Yes.
They opened up a second course called Tor, which is designed by Sergio Garcia.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
So it's opening up, I believe, next month. It's opening up shortly, and Ron got a preview of it a couple weeks ago, and by all accounts, it's in the same class as Dunas, which I would say is probably the best golf course in Portugal now. So you've got those, and you've got the Praia del Rei resort that we went to. You got Oitavos Dunes west of Lisbon. So there's tons of golf within an hour and a half of Lisbon. So a lot of our groups now are going up to that area as opposed to the Algarve, or combining the two destinations. So there's a lot to offer there. The price point is still good, and that's why it's a really good alternative to people who have been going to the U.S. and going for some deals over the years, and finding something that's comparable price-wise. Easy flights, direct overnight. So there's lots of great reasons to go to Portugal, it's just growing and growing.
I'm so glad he said easy to get to, because it's 6.5, 7 hours maybe direct flight to Lisbon. And even when we went to Spain 3.5 years ago, we flew through Lisbon. We might not have made our connecting flight. That was a long story in itself. But Lisbon's a great hub to go into, isn't it? To fly into.
There's 3 airlines that fly there direct, and it is a hub getting into Europe and other destinations. So for us, like sending people there, it's an easy overnight flight. You get a bit of sleep on the plane. You play golf the next day, and you're ready to go. And so great reason to go over there. And it's just becoming one of the most popular spots. It's certainly the biggest growing destination, I think, for our golf travel.
And regardless of wherever you're going in the world, you just mentioned something there, the overnight flight, you play golf the next day, and you're off. How crucial is that in terms of getting your body clock on the time zone versus if you're flying overnight and maybe you nap when you get there and then your body just doesn't know what time it is throughout the next couple days?
You can't nap. And it's hard sometimes because some people can't sleep on planes. I'm not bad at it. I'm not great.
I'm jealous.
But if you can get an hour or two on the plane and then somehow get through that whole next day, right? And that's why we say to people, play golf, so that you can get out, be active, and it's easier to stay awake. And then you get to dinner time, have a quick dinner, get to bed at a reasonable hour, but try to make it to, 9 o'clock or something, and then get a really good, I always find that's my best sleep ever, is that first night over in Europe, whether it's in Ireland or Scotland or Portugal, wherever it is. That's my best sleep, and I get up the next morning and I'm generally refreshed. So we often, and it depends when your flight arrives, but the flight's overnight. If it's direct, usually people are getting there, in the morning, so you've got time to get to your destination, play around the golf, and stay active so you can stay awake. And so I always like to do that. It's not for everybody, but and you can't expect to shoot your low score when you're playing on that little sleep. So temper your expectations, but it's a good way to go in my mind.
And obviously, going on these great trips, the golf is number one, but how important do you think it is to embrace the culture of different spots, whether we're having tapas in Spain or local wine anywhere versus maybe eating something different that you normally wouldn't do?
Well, I think that's huge. And so we get so many people that, the trips that we put together are golf heavy.
Totally.
They're golfers, and they want to play golf. And often, especially in Scotland or Ireland, 36 a day, we want to play twice, and I try to steer people away from that. We believe that enjoying the destination off the golf course is just as important as on the golf course. And I get it. The first few times I went over, I wanted to play as much golf as possible.
Totally.
I totally get it. But you know what? To be able to enjoy the food and the wine, and maybe do a wine tour in Portugal or Spain, or a whiskey tour in Ireland or Scotland, and enjoy a bit of the culture and get out for some nice meals, and it's super important. And not only that, then you don't wear yourself out.
Yes.
Where if you do that too much, play too much golf, by the end of it, you're just worn out and probably not enjoying the golf as much as you should. So I think it's super important to enjoy the destination, enjoy the culture, and it's the reason we travel, right?
Yeah.
And see different parts of the world is to meet different people and try different foods and enjoy the culture. So I think it's really important, and we try to get that across to people.
Yeah, that's very well said. Now, we know the Open Championship is going back to Royal Portrush. And when we come back here on Golf Talk Canada, we're going to talk about your upcoming trip to Ireland. And we're each going to go through our top 5 favorite golf courses in the world that we've played, because we both had some really cool experiences. So I'm really looking forward to having this conversation.